All right, cool. So who wants to sell more knives? Right? Like I feel like yeah, right? Like that's what we're all here for. I'm gonna be totally upfront and honest with you guys. I knew that I had to give my increasing my average order talk, but when I was looking at the schedule like last night before like the kickoff, I thought that my talk was in 3 days, and it turned out that it was today. So last night during the phone jam, I was like, okay, it's time to work on my increasing your average order talk. And I had already written one a couple months ago for the summer, and so I open up my Evernote and I search increasing your average order, right? And I go through all of my notes it turns out all of a sudden like notes from years ago popped up from like 2017. So I had notes from the talk that I gave. I had notes from a talk that Owen gave. I had notes that a talk that Rob gave, and I had notes from some other talk that I have literally no idea where it's from. And I just think that in most cases, the best ideas when you have ideas from multiple people is to kind of take ideas from everywhere and turn those and give those ideas your own like little spin, add your own little voice to them and make them your own, right? So I went through all of my increasing your average order notes, and I came up with like six main things that I really wanted to talk about. What I really wanted to talk about this morning. So the first one in terms of increasing your average order is honestly it's just your mindset, right? That's the thing that I noticed that everybody was talking about, right? It was changing your mindset going into your presentations, right? So first off, it's a matter of going into every presentation with a different expectation, right? I think that sometimes we like have a couple no sales in a row, or we have maybe like some grumpy old lady who just wasn't necessarily interested in the stuff, and we let that kind of affect how we go into our presentations over the next couple of days for after that, right? Whether it's the demo directly after that or it's the next day. Sometimes subconsciously we even have like that one person that said no in the back of our brain, but we need like I think what everybody needs to do is go into every single demo with a clean slate, right? Expecting everybody, hey, every single person that I'm going to sit down with, they need to have a basic set, right? Like and if they don't, that's totally fine. But I'm a firm believer that every single person should have a set that was designed by a home economist to do 100% of jobs in the kitchen with the fewest amount of tools, right? Even if and I'm not, guys, did every single person that I sat down with buy a homemaker plus eight? Absolutely not. But every single person that I sat down with during my first SC1 push did. My average order was over $1,000 my first SC1 push, and it was because every single person bought a homemaker with stainless table knives. Don't worry, I'm going to go over that in the stainless table knives is definitely one of my tips. But the so in terms of like your mindset, like going into the demo expecting everybody to at least need a set, right? Like that's what's going to change your game. Like if you go in, you have to change your mindset of what a lot of Cutco is, right? Like it's as simple as that. Like there were times where I went into demos, and if I dropped down and I closed on let's say I closed on maybe like a special three or a special four or a special five, right? Whatever the case might is, like maybe I gave them a good deal on a couple pieces, whatever it is, and I would be like, oh wow, they bought a lot, right? That was when I first started. I was like, wow, thank God they bought a lot. Like and then once I started shifting, my average order at that point, guys, was a couple $100s, right? It wasn't anything exciting. It was kind of right around that average, right? And then once I started thinking, okay, a lot of Cutco is a starter set, right? Like that's a good jumping off point. That was actually what my dad got, like got a studio set. So in my brain, I'm like, okay, one of those little sets, that's a lot of Cutco, right? And then once I started shifting my perspective from one of those from one of those smaller sets to, oh, the basic set, that's a lot, that's a big order, right? When I saw the basic set, and the crazy thing is, once I started shifting that perspective, I started selling more galleys, I started selling more starter sets, and I started selling more specials over like one piece or even two pieces, right? And all of that comes with your mindset. So once you I want everybody's mindset to be a lot of Cutco is everything, right? A lot of Cutco is the kitchen. The people who buy a lot of Cutco are the people that buy the kitchen. If you have that as your expectations, oh man, you're gonna fall short. You maybe like you're gonna fall short of your selling a lot and sell a signature set. It's really difficult. It's really, really hard, right? And like that is the difference, is when like if you set up the expectation with people that like, hey, like people love the stuff, it's amazing, and you bring that confidence level to your presentations, people are going to feel that, and they're going to be a lot more excited, and a lot of times they're going to find bigger options that are going to fit their budgets, because they know that that these are the options that are exciting to them. Now, the next thing that I wanted to talk about was referring to sets, like in terms of concepts, right? When I was on my demo, guys, like there were, if you guys are also, if this is like, if you guys are brand new, if this is your first week, if this is your second week, I'm gonna go over some tips that like maybe are like some verbiage tips, things like that, that you're not gonna want to implement right away, right? Like don't if you guys if there's like some, if you guys are brand new and there's something that you love that I'm about to go over, talk to your manager about implementing it in your demo before you just go ahead and do it. But if you guys are experienced, you know the demo, and you think that this is something that might like impact your demo in a positive way, please feel free. But when I was talking about the, like, you'll notice that in the demo we changed the sets from the we don't call it the Homemaker Plus 8, right? We call it the basic set. We don't call it the ultimate set, right? We call it the complete set, right? And the nickname for the signature set is the family set, right? These are all the reason that we have these nicknames for these sets is because it helps them, like it makes it conceptual, right? Like, yeah, I'm a firm believer that every person doesn't need to know what every single piece in the basic set does, like every single job that every single piece does, in order to be excited about that basic set, right? At the end of the day, the basic set is it's the small, designed by a home economist, do everything in the kitchen with the fewest amount of tools. So as long as someone understands that concept, like, hey, they're going to have every single piece to do every single job that they're ever going to need to do, and it was designed by a home economist to do that, then they're going to have confidence in that. And so from there, I would like the good thing about our demo is it shows all of the pieces, and you guys can go through them like nice and quickly, and go through them as it gives them the opportunity to see everything. But when I was on my presentations, when I was flipping through the pieces that I really emphasized when I was going through the basic set, were the butcher knife and the carving set. I talked about all of the pieces, right? But those were the three that I emphasized. Why do you think I did that? Does anybody have a guess?
Because if they like them, basic set. They don't like them, just drop to the galley and good.
It's as simple as that. Exactly, right? Like I would show them the three pieces that weren't in the galley set. I would emphasize the crap out of those, build a ton of value, because I'd be like, hey, you're gonna get all of the basics that you're going to need, but then you're also gonna have these three like really awesome pieces, right? Because then that's gonna build the value in the basic set. And then from there, I would talk about the specialty pieces, just like the demo does, does now. So that builds value in the signature set. And then from there, the great thing is, I would build like if all else failed, then I would start building value in those. And then that's when I would really sell the basics, right? Like once I'm dropping down and I'm showing the galley set, that's when I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start showing like I'm really gonna like start selling people on these basics, not just the concept of the basics. I'm gonna start selling them on how amazing these basic pieces are. Does that make sense? Cool. So yeah, I like, so referring to sets in terms of their concepts is always going to be like so like referring to the complete set as the complete set, not the ultimate set, right? And that just makes it so it's not like you're the first person ever to get our ultimate set, right? It just makes it's the complete set, right? It's our complete line of kitchen cutlery. And our signature set, we call it our family set because it's great for families. It has 10 table knives for so everybody can have some table knives so they don't have to wash them every meal. It comes with all of the basic tools plus some of the best specialty tools, right? So the basic set, the family set, and the complete set, those are like the three main like concepts that we use. But one of the things that I actually got from one of my other notes from Brandon Wynn, the way that he refers to the galley set, guys, by the way, Brandon Wynn is over $2 million in sales personally. He's never opened an office. He's just like taken home about $1 million in his pocket from selling Cutco, which is that a lot of knives, right? So he actually referred to the galley set as the starter set, right? He referred because it's the reason that we have it separate from the rest of the starter sets is because it's a great value. And so if you start if you start adding these concepts into your demo, right? Like the galley set being the starter set, it's a great jumping off point, right? I'm a firm believer that like if you get all of the basics without the butcher knife and the carving fork and 6 table knives, you're going to have an amazing set of Cutco in your kitchen that you're going to be able to use for a really long time and build up over time. It has a special place in my heart because that's the set that my parents got when the Cutco guy came over and did a demo for my parents. Guys, I'm not gonna lie, Liberty is right behind me snoring, so you might you might hear her in a second. But the next thing that I wanted to talk about is dropping down effectively, right? So when you guys are the first tip in terms of dropping down effectively, it's super easy, guys. There's stars in the demo. It's asking for the order on every single time on every single option, right? It sounds like, Sean, there's no way it's that simple. It is that simple. I'm sure that everybody has done that demo where they're like, oh, I don't know if this person, like they were really not really into the homemaker, so maybe I won't ask them on every single special if they're excited. But those are the people that you should be asking is specifically every single special if they're excited, right? Because those are the people that we're going to get them an amazing deal. Exactly, Jaden. They can't say yes if you don't ask. Yeah, it's as simple as this. If you don't ask, they won't get. Right. So it's like you want to just make sure that you're asking on every single option. Now, this next part, this is going to seem a little like counterintuitive, and that's okay. This might be something that you have to fake until you make it, right? Like you got to raise your enthusiasm every single time you click that drop down arrow. And I know that we go over this in advanced training. Some of you are like, Sean, this is like kind of basic stuff, but that, like, I think that a lot of times the basics are the things that a lot of times that we forget, and a lot of times could use that reminder, right? Now, so every single time you click that drop down arrow, you're like, Sean, I just talked for 45 minutes. I don't know how I'm supposed to raise my enthusiasm. Guys, just do it, right? Like I just smile, get excited. Get a little louder. Just honestly, guys, the number one thing is smiling. The reason that I'm smiling right now is because if I wasn't smiling, I would sound like I was asleep. And that's because half of me still is asleep, and that's okay. I'm just smiling because it changes my voice inflection, right? It makes it so that I'm a little bit more interactive. You guys are a little bit more tied into me. So when you're dropping down, get more excited. Raise your enthusiasm every single time you click that arrow, because you're one step closer to finding the option that is going to change their experience of cooking forever. So get excited about that, right? Like, so every single time you're one step closer to finding an option for them. So get excited about that, raise your enthusiasm, and they will feel it. Now, I think this is something that so I have 2 more tips. So from dropping down, I think that a mistake that a lot of new reps make is that once someone says yes, they're like, okay, that's it. I found the option that they're gonna want, and they said yes, and we're gonna move on, right? Like I'm gonna go on to referrals, and that's it, right? But that's not it, guys. Like on my demos, when I drop down, if I drop down to pieces and I found them a couple of pieces, that was just where it started. Right. Once they said yes, once they found their favorite pieces, once I got them excited about those, that was where the fun began. Right. When that's the difference between some of our newer reps and some of our more advanced reps. And guys, like I said, this is specifically a much more advanced level skill. So if you're like nervous about implementing this, talk to your manager, set up a quick one-on-one where they can teach you how to do this. But basically, once someone found like, if you guys had to guess, like percentage wise, if you had to say out of 10 times when you drop down to 2 pieces, how many of those people are putting it on a 2-pay or putting it on a 3-pay out of 10? If you had to get like this, like I don't know the answer to this, by the way, guys. I'm trying to crowdsource. If you had to guess, 1, Tommy said, Garrett said 1, maybe 1, right? Like if maybe 2, depending on who you're sitting down with, right? Like if that. Right. And that's just the reality of the situation. The reason that people are like, when you get down to 1 or 2 pieces, people that aren't going to they're not going to split it in half. They're not going to split it in 3. In a lot of cases they could, but they usually just pay it in full. And I'm not going to pretend that I understand exactly the phenomenon behind that. I just think that if somebody's doing that though, that means that I just found the number that they're comfortable with on a 5 pay. Right? If I drop down to 2 pieces, let's say it's a paring knife and a trimmer, right? I'm gonna pull up the calculator right here. I the last time I did my my increasing your average order talk, I pulled out the calculator and I showed people how to break it down, and I saw some minds were actually blown. But let's say someone gets like the cheese knife, and let's say we'll do the spatula spreader, right? So let's say it's 168 plus, we'll do it's 6.7%. So it's like 180 after tax and everything like that, right? So 180 on 180 today for those 2 pieces, including the tax, including everything. Well, maybe 177 minus the $3 fee, right? Now, guys, I want you to realize something. Let's go with the all knife, right? They get a tray of 5 knives. We'll throw in the cheese knife for them, give it because that was the knife that they were excited about. They get their spatula spreader, they get their cheese knife, and then they get 4 other pieces that they're gonna love. And today, it would just be 114. So they're saving $70 today. They're getting everything that they want, plus 4 extra knives to try. They have 3 weeks to try it out. And if they decide that they only want to keep the 2 pieces that they were already excited about, fine. Just send the other 4 back. You get a full refund, and there's really no risk to try it out. And I think that is like the fact that they would save money today, as opposed to having to spend extra money. People are like, oh, Sean, how am I going to upsell them? I feel like they're going to have to spend more, and that's scary. That's not true. Just get them a good deal, make them feel good about it. And that alone just took my order from $180 to probably around $500, all because I found an option that's going to fit their budget, but also has the pieces that they wanted. Right now, so those are the things that's going to make it feel like you're on your customer's side, and that's what's gonna and that's the difference when people between people being like, oh, I'm just gonna get a couple pieces, as opposed to like, you know what, let me try out a set, right? Because when they feel, because I would say like a lot of times when someone is looking at like a set on the 5 pay, they're gonna enjoy it way more. They're gonna have the pieces that they want when they need them, right? And they're getting a much better deal, right? Like, let's say maybe they get a veggie peeler if they're on those 2 pieces, but if they get the set, they get the free cheese knife thrown in, like a piece that they were already going to love, right? And this is like this example only goes, it only like it changes high. Like, let's say we did some of the more expensive knives, right? Let's say they like the Hardy slicer. Oh yeah, I forgot I had the all knife set. I'm like, where's this dollar amount coming from? Right? Let's say they like to cut 2 or 3 big knives, right? Let's say they did the Hardy slicer. Let's say they did the cleaver, right? Let's say if they did those 2 knives alone, that's a homemaker, right? And yeah, even though the Hardy slicer and the cleaver might not be in the basic set, but like 363, that's around a signature set, around a signature set 5 pay, right? And that's the real that's the thing, is that the if you utilize the 5 pay and you utilize the 15-day trial in a powerful way, all while getting your customers a good deal, they're going to be excited about you upselling them, because they're gonna be the ones benefiting, right? And then I have a couple more minutes here before the end, before I kick off the phone jam. And the last thing that I really wanted to show, like, this is kind of like my bonus tip. This is the Sean special. I'm not gonna lie, guys. The reason that my average order was as high as it was because of stainless table knives. Number one reason. I think maybe not number one, but top 5 reasons for sure. Every single time I sold a set, they got stainless table knives. You know, like like you know how you guys were like 1 or 2 people will put it out of 5 pay if they're getting 1 or 2 pieces, right? That was me. But if they were buying a set and not getting stainless table knives, right? Like it was so rare that someone wouldn't get stainless table knives because I thought that they were beautiful and I hyped them up on every single presentation, right? That question in the demo when I said, "Hey, by the way, which one do you find most aesthetically pleasing?" The reason that we put that in there was because that was why I sold so many stainless table knives, so many steak knives, right? Because every time you ask that question, somebody's always going to say the stainless table knives or the steak knives, you know. And if they don't, that's totally fine. Like hype them up. They're awesome. You know, they're classic. They like the look of the times that we've had since the 40s, right? But um but yeah, like the stainless table knives are beautiful. They fit with our flatware. They fit with their flatware. And guys, the cool thing is if someone is interested in, let's say, a basic set with 8 with a basic set with 8 stainless table knives, and they also love the flatware, we can give them such a good deal. If they're interested in any of the sets with the table knives and they like the flatware, we can give them an amazing deal, right? Think about it this way. Excuse me, sorry. The flatware chest comes with 12 table knives. So any of the sets, we can fill up that block with the stainless table knives from the flatware chest, get them an amazing deal on both, and that way they don't have to pay for the table knives twice, right? It's a built-in upsell. All you have to do is show it, right? So get them excited about it. Can make and when they say like they love the stainless table knives, quote them on the stainless table knives, right? From then on, any price that they say, any set that they say, anytime that they want to set, I'm quoting them for the price with the stainless table knives or the price with the steak knives, right? I'm not quoting them on the price for the table knives because those weren't the ones that they loved, right? The ones that they loved were the stainless ones or the steak knives, right? And that is how you just want to make sure that you're always using those prices because those are the ones that they're going to be the most excited about. Well, it looks like I ran exactly 1 minute over. I was trying really hard to keep it under 20 minutes, but what questions do we have about all of about those things, about about increasing your average order or anything like that before I let you guys book a bunch of demos?
Hey, Sean, I have a question.
What's up?
So like for these, like every set, we really give you we push the option of either like we'll give you the cheese knife or the super shears for free. Um, do you think it's like an acceptable thing to like maybe give a different knife if they're super excited about it?
Yeah, for you, 100%. Yeah, 1,000%. If you guys are brand new, don't mess with the deals too much because then you're gonna just be really confused. But if you guys have some experience, you know the demo, you know what kinds of things you can give for free. Work your magic, right? You don't want to. If you know that like this person is like, wow, I really love the spatula spreader, but I would love to give it as a gift, whatever the case might be, and you want to throw that in, feel free. Like whatever gets people excited.
Gotcha. Thank you.
No problem. What other questions do we have? All right, cool. Well, if you guys are hiding down at the bottom of my screen with your camera off, let's get those cameras on. Let's get those phones ready, and let's make the next 32 minutes a special phone jam, right? Let's make the Thursday morning phone jam the best 8 a.m. phone jam of the week. So let's get our apps up. Let's get our top 5 people selected. I'm gonna put some music on and yeah, let's make a bunch of calls. Who's gonna book the first demo? That's what I thought, Karen.
Karen, I love your cat so much.
Thank you. She's like my little daughter. Her name's Little Lady. Say hi, Little Lady.
Her name is Little Lady.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because she's really fat, so it defeats the purpose.
Well, guys, let's all unmute. Let's have a kick-ass phone jam. Sean, do you need me to share my screen?
I'm just pulling up music right now. I got it.
Okay, cool, awesome. You might want to also stop the recording. But guys, let's have a kick-ass phone jam. Let's unmute our